out of it, right? So that it is further contracts, right? I think the U.S. economy. I mean, it's one thing to look at what Zimbabwe did. They were addressing a different matter altogether, and their strategies were different. I think the least that the Reserve Bank could have done is to leave the repo rate as it is. The best they could have done is to reduce it so that there's more money in circulation. It's a balance that you need to maintain. But there's no point that you continue to punish consumers and end up with less and less of economic activity. Then you're going nowhere as a country.
All right. So, what does this all mean for the common man? For somebody who works for government, for somebody who works for a private sector, for somebody who's just the working class? What does this mean for the working class? And what does this mean?
It means that you're going to be paying more for your car. You're going to be paying more for your house. You're going to be paying more for your loan from the bank, which translates into saying that you're going to be having less money for the essentials of life. And therefore, as a consumers, becoming poorer and spending less, and as we spend less, we enter into a cycle of interest rates resulting in a further recession. Because if we spend less, companies retrench, and when they retrench, there's less money in circulation, and more companies retrench, and we end up in a vicious cycle. That's where we are with respect to this decision of the Reserve Bank.
So, because the Reserve Bank are the ones that actually sort of the big brother of banks, and so if they increase the interest rate to lend, then this directly trickles down to the people on the ground.
Immediately. The banks don't waste time on that.
Yeah. And the other thing a lot of people are looking at and saying, but this might affect the petrol prices. How true is this?
Look, the petrol price is affected by a number of factors. For instance, the rand might strengthen as a result of this, but on balance, if the petrol price drops tomorrow, consumers don't get a reduction in their bus fares or taxi fares at the same time, right? And it also depends on the quantum to say by what margin does the currency strengthens, and whether or not there's an equalization of the loss as a result of the higher interest rate and the benefit of a strong rand, which result in a better petrol price. But there's other factors that are related to the petrol price. I mean, the supply from OPEC might, I mean, as it is now, OPEC was looking at contracting production, which would mean that it should balance out in a sense that we might have a stronger currency but a higher crude oil price, and we know where, and we haven't moved in a positive sense, but we just had a negative impact.
I understand we found ourselves in this predicament, but as a country, how does South Africa come out of this problem we're faced in?
South Africa has many problems. Unfortunately, we don't have a national strategy. We need a national strategy, right, around a number of things. We need national strategies around our minerals, the national strategies around energy, both electricity and fuel. We cannot be going into renewable energy, which are proving to be 5 times what the cost of what Eskom is producing at. And also, what happened to the coal to fuel project, which means that we as a country could be insulated from the movement of the crude price if we pursued the coal to crude strategy, which in essence the country should be looking at pricing our petrol in rand terms and not our oil, our petrol in relative rand terms as opposed to relative dollar terms.
Let's be on. Yeah.
And looking at breaking down monopolies in the country, that this economy was designed in apartheid days, and we haven't got the new economy in terms of how many banks you must have, how many insurance companies you must have, how many bread producers you must have. We have too much of a collusion of producers in the market because they were designed in the structure was designed in apartheid days, and the structure remains.
We must be honest about something. IMF took out a report, I think it's last week, to say they're not happy with the way South Africa is going about. And you can see we're in a recession, because we're not making money as a country. So would you say the fact that we're in a technical recession and the fact that we're not making money is equals to recession, but the fact that the IMF has then said, hi guys, you still owe us money and you're not making an effort to bring it back, could that have influenced today's decision?
Unfortunately, we are where we are because we listened to the IMF. The countries that have a champion developmental trajectory ignore the IMF. It's one institution we should ignore. And unfortunately, our leaders have been listening to the IMF. If you look at China as a developing country, which now has the second biggest economy in the world, and will soon surpass the U.S. as the biggest economy in the world, it did exactly the opposite of what the IMF is saying. And we have been parroting what the IMF says, and that's why we're where we are. Right? That we should actually break away from the IMF advice, pay them back, and build an economy that is an industrial economy. South Africa, if you look at the steel industry, we did a survey on the steel industry, which is a major potential jobs provider, and real jobs where people are earning 15,000, 20,000 rands per month. But we have not participated in the global steel explosion. We did a survey that 25 years ago, the global steel production was 600 million tons. Today, it is 1.6 billion tons. And over that period, we have declined from 11 million tons to about 7 million tons. So we've gone the wrong direction because we kept on listening to the IMF. So as a country, we don't have a strategy. Even when the president was going around saying he's raising $100 billion US dollars, nobody knows what he's going to do with the money because the strategy is not there. We need a strategy to drive industrialization, to beneficiate our minerals, to open the economy, to create more enterprises in the economy, to bring black people into the mainstream of the economy. Black people can't just be workers. Some people must not just promise us jobs as if that's the only thing we can ever be as a workers in the economy. We need to be owners. And the barriers to entry remain very high. Right? You can imagine that in the apartheid days, it was illegal for a black man to start a company. Right? And in this era that we are, the government has not done anything meaningful to ensure that black people can actually regain the loss of time that we lost during the apartheid era in terms of business participation.
Mr. Msivi, thank you so much for sharing us your input, and I hope the listeners have learned. I know they would, because there's some valuable information that you have shared with us. So thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend.
Pleasure, bye.
Okay, that's Mr. Kanzani Msivi. So I hope you understood how this works, and we will try, on One Nation FM and on our Facebook pages and our personal social media accounts to make it easy for you to understand. Petrol was not an issue for people when the prices were increasing up until now. And the same happens when we undermine. My grandmother used to say, munyaja mulala, ukhwela mulali. And this is exactly what will happen to us when we don't, get involved and find what's happening and how we can help. Because I think we become a consumerist society that this consumerist society we need to deal with together. You are listening to One Nation FM. So we're going to go for a net break, and then when we come back, we talk about BLF.
Nako yela ya ngwaga ya go reka ka bontši go itukišetša Christmas lena di society di club di stokfele le mang kapa mang e tlang A1 supermarket Divini Street polokwa diporeisi tša rena e sa le tšone tšela tša mehleng theeletšang molaetša wa bohlokwa show A1 supermarket e ka se ye felo ebile e ka se tsoge e tswaletšwe mabarebare ao le a kwelego a gore A1 ya tswalelwa ke maaka a matalatala setšhaba lokologang le reke ka go iketla A1 supermarket ga e felo re tla le tlhankela ka botshepegi mehla yotlhe A1 supermarket corner definition Jubet Street mo Polokwane simply the best.
In Malawi, over 160,000 people have low vision due to cataracts, and of these, more than 50,000 are blind as a result. Access to life-changing surgery is often simply out of reach, both financially and physically. Help the Alimdad Foundation to restore eyesight to these vulnerable people. Sponsor an eye cataract operation in Malawi for 550 Rand. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
I don't have to put it like I want to go to a quiet place.
These days, I'm more health conscious than ever. So tonight, it's stir fry for dinner. Cooked in healthy Helios pure sunflower cooking oil. Helios is pure sunflower goodness, packed with omega-6. That's good for your heart. And is approved as part of the Heart and Stroke Foundation eating plan. Dinner's ready! Helios, pure sunflower cooking oil. A healthy family is a happy one.
Yeah, no,
88.9 FM. Welcome to the People Station. One Nation FM.
thank you. What?
All right, we're back on One Nation FM. The time is just 13 minutes after 6 o'clock in the evening. Still, if you just tuned in, you're listening to The Robust View. You're listening to Isaac Wagamuselan. We're moving to the last segment of the show, and we're talking about BLF. And the reason why I want to talk about BLF is because there isn't much information as to what is happening. So I want to seek clarity, and I wanted to chat to somebody who I believe may assist us. So the EFF, we know, it's been coming out and saying Pravin must go. They've done the hashtags, they're protesting, and they've been dishing out their reasons as to why. Whether or not they're legitimate, it's not for today's debate. But at the same time, the BLF joined them in the march. Whether they were marching together or not, we will know about this, hopefully, when I discuss with my analyst. So we want to know those reasons. We want to understand those reasons and why, and because that's good. Maybe it might help a listener tonight and might make a lot of people understand. So to talk more about this, we're joined by our friend and our residential political analyst, Botsang Muilwa. Tobela.
Tobela Isaac and Tobela who bathelete by One Nation FM.
Let's talk about, first thing first, was the BLF protesting against Pravin Gordhan together with the EFF? Was it a joint march?
Okay, first of all, one would have to understand the history of the BLF, how it came by, but we'll get back to that probably later. There was not a joint march. I followed the story very closely, from the beginning and how it was planned. It was not a joint march. It just happened that the two organizations happened to have wanted to protest against Pravin Gordhan as a commission or outside the State of Capture Commission. The BLF has been on record since its formation in 2015 to be against Pravin Gordhan. If your listeners followed the news very well when President Jacob Zuma removed Pravin Gordhan from the Minister of Finance, the BLF was in the forefront of that. They've been very consistent in accusing and labeling Pravin Gordhan as an agent of white monopoly capital within the ANC-led government. They've released yesterday, actually, I checked on their website, they've released a total of at least 8 statements since their formation attacking or criticizing or exposing Pravin Gordhan. And yesterday they repeated a statement that they issued when the EFF was saying Pravin was a blessing to South Africa and is a better devil. They re-released it yesterday. So